corn and shit. Doritos, I think they call them. That's right. People only see the surface. They see the division in our foods. Just because I eat chicken and watermelon. They think that that's something wrong with me. If you take something, if you don't like chicken or watermelon, something's wrong with you, motherfucker. There's something wrong with you. Where are all these people that don't like chicken and watermelon? I'm sick of hearing about how bad it is. It's great. I'm waiting for chicken to approach me to do a commercial, nigga. I'll do it for free, chicken. At least I can do. They make fun of Latin people for eating, what y'all eat? Beans, rice, corn. Listen, that's not a reason to hate a motherfucker, all right? It's funny, but it's not a reason to hate. The only reason these things are even an issue is because nobody knows what white people eat. You've been very good at keeping that shit a secret amongst yourselves. I study white people. You don't know that. I'm writing a paper on you. Not even for school, nigga, just to do it. Just to get doing independent research and spending my money. That's why I'm working so hard. I follow you around grocery stores. They freak out. I just try to peek in the cart. They always say, "Get away from my cart, nigga. What are you looking at?" Chicken and giblets are over there. You must be lost. These are vegetables. I know what you drink. See how quiet I got? Grape juice. Surprise, motherfuckers! You didn't know I knew about grape juice, did you? Oh, don't play dumb with me. Look at what? A lot of black people don't have the privilege of knowing about grape juice because they have grape drink. It's not the same formula that you get. Ain't no vitamins in that shit. You might have one of your black friends over, Todd. Care for a glass of grape juice? What? Nigga, what the fuck is juice? I want some grape drink, baby. Oh, it's purple. I don't think I know what grape drink is. What? That's some apple juice if you want. What the fuck is juice? I want some apple drink. Scream. Remember that commercial for Sunny Delight when all the kids run in from outside playing? They all run to the fridge. All right, I got some purple stuff, some Sunny D. As soon as you say Sunny D, all the kids go, yeah! Watch the black kid in the back. If you ever see that commercial again, look at that black kid. He'd be like, I want that purple stuff. That's drink, man. It's drink. They want drink. I want all them vitamins, nigga. I want drink. Sugar, water, purple. That's the ingredient. Sugar, water, and of course, purple. It's too fucking much. I got a lot of things to talk about tonight. First of all, I've stopped smoking weed. With black people, you didn't let me finish, motherfuckers. God damn. I'm sorry, black people, to break the news so publicly, but I can't smoke with you anymore. The time I smoke weed with my black friends, all you talk about is your trials and tribulations. I'm sick of that shit. I got my own problems. It's a waste of weed. I'm smoking weed to run away from my problems, not take on yours. From now on, I smoke weed exclusively with white people. Calm down, motherfuckers. You win by default. We got good weed conversation. All white people talk about when they get high is other times that they got high. I can listen to that shit all night. Dude, remember Frank's last week? It's fucking smash, man. And catalogs everything they drink. 2 shots of Jaeger, tequila, 4 bong hits, man. Beer, cheeseburger. That shit is great. Only bad part is you cannot pass out around white people. Every time white dudes pass out around each other, they always do some borderline gay shit when the guy's asleep. Frank fell asleep, so he like stuck a carrot in his ass and put shaving cream on his balls. Like, why, motherfucker? Why would you do that to a friend of yours? He tried to get enough to sleep around, you gonna put a carrot in his ass? Is that nice? I'll tell you right now, if I put...
That wouldn't be a good thing, to be honest. When Dave Chappelle says that he doesn't smoke weed with black people anymore, does it mean that he has smoked with white people? I mean, when you're high in general, when you smoke weed, right, and you get high in general, it makes you say things and do things that once you're conscious back, you don't remember or even think that you did those things, but you did them. So, I don't think it's about the ethnicity of people. I think it's about the weed itself. It's not about the people that you smoke with, but it's about the weed itself.
Put a carrot in a black dude's ass, a nigga will kill you when he wakes up for some shit like that. That is an automatic death sentence on the street. It's a rap for you. I'm gonna kill that motherfucker. I thought y'all was friends, baby. What happened? I fell asleep at his house, right? We was drinking, and I fell asleep at his house, and while I was sleeping, right? I'm just gonna kill that motherfucker, alright? That's all you need to know. Fuck carrots. But everybody's getting along. I see that shit. I see it all around. Blacks and whites don't fight so much. You know who don't have no beef with anybody is Asian people. I see how y'all be doing. Y'all just laying the cut. All people Asian people beef with is other Asian people. Like if you call a Korean guy Chinese, I've done this. They'll flip out. Hey! What make me think of Chinese? I am Korean. I look Chinese. Yes, motherfucker, you do look Chinese. That's why I said it. It's an accident. They could untrain now you all look Chinese to me. It's a mistake. I'm not trying to offend you. Some people say all black people look alike. We don't get bent out of shape. We normally just call those people police. Okay? Just learn to live with it. That's all I can tell you. Everybody's afraid of police. I'm scared to death of these police. I am, nigga. I got a police scanner. First money I got, this is the first shit I went out, bought me a police scanner. I just listen to these motherfuckers before I go out, just to make sure everything's cool. You hear shit on it.
Calling all cars, being a little guy for a black male between 4'7" and 6'8".
Staying in the crib tonight, fuck that. Gotta work on that alibi for a minute. Every black person needs an alibi. I do them impromptu joints. If I'm by myself and I'll just open up the windows in the apartment, turn all the lights on, start beating off right in the window. Look at me! Hey, everybody, look, it's me, Dave Chappelle, praising, jerking off. Note the time, motherfuckers. It's 2:35. Look at me, I'm jerking off the window, 2:35. Comedian Dave Chappelle, June 10th. Note the time. That shit could save my life.
Officer David Chappelle couldn't have done that. I saw him in his window masturbating from 2:35 to 2:37. I'm certain of it. He was standing on a clock and holding a calendar and today's paper.
Fuck, I need an alibi. I can't be no celebrity. This shit is just the worst. I'm seeing it. I see why stars are crazy, man. These motherfuckers. I went to Disney World with my kids, which is a big deal for me. I don't get to see my kids so much. I do Chappelle show 20 hours a day, sleep for like half an hour, raise my kids for 10, 20 minutes, and I go back to work. Now, this particular day I got to hook up the kids we went to Disney World. Everybody at the park. Fucking everybody. Hey! Rick James, bitch! Hey, Rick James, bitch! It's like, hey, man, hey. You mind not calling me a bitch in front of my kids? Time out, motherfucker. We take a day off. Even Mickey Mouse did it. I said, this is the most unprofessional shit I have ever seen in my life. Rick James, bitch! I was fed up. I caught that motherfucker with the uppercut. Bop! Knocked his head clean off. Everybody was screaming. Oh my God! Oh my God! Mickey Mouse is Mexican!
Dave Chappelle, what do you mean by that part, the part that say Mickey Mouse is Mexican though? I mean, when it comes to ethnicities, it's now that people can differentiate between Asians. Even white people couldn't differentiate between black people. You know, back in the days it was pretty difficult to differentiate between different races of people. It is now that people can differentiate. So it's pretty normal to mistake a Thai person for a Chinese person, Korean for a Thai for a Japanese. So it's pretty normal on that part. You know.
I had a terrible time in Disney World. Disney World is like a whole nother country anyway. They got their own currency. That shit is ridiculous. As soon as I check in the hotels,
Welcome to Disney World, Mr. Chappelle. Can we interest you in some Disney dollars?
nah, man, I'm cool. Can't buy weed and pussy with Disney dollars, nigga. I'm on vacation. I like them greenbacks. You know what I'm saying? It's the kind of money people spend. People is very particular about that. I saw that. That was one of the main stories from the war. It was the first big thing we did. Was they said,
Now that Iraq has been liberated, we have managed to take Saddam Hussein's face off of them.
It's been said in the press that I was invited to speak to the transgender employees at Netflix, and I refuse. That is not true. If they had invited me, I would have accepted it, although I am confused about what we are speaking about. I said what I said, and boy, I heard what you said. My God, how could I not? You said you want a safe working environment at Netflix. Well, it seems like I'm the only one that can't go to the office anymore. I want everyone in this audience to know that even though the media frames this, that it's me versus that community, that is not what it is. Do not blame the LGBTQ community for any of this shit. This has nothing to do with them. It's about corporate interests and what I can say and what I cannot say. For the record, and I need you to know this, everyone I know from that community has been nothing but loving and supporting. So I don't know what all this nonsense is about. In summer 2020, when the whole world shut down, I was outside doing shows. My neighbor had a cornfield and he let me throw shows there, and people came from all over the country. Some people came from around the world to see those shows. The best comedians on earth came to my home and broke bread with me. And we lived our lives. We found a way to keep moving forward. I made a whole documentary about it. The first night of those shows was a piece that some of you might have seen. It was called 846, and it dealt with the death, the murder of George Floyd. This film that I made was invited to every film festival in the United States, and some of those invitations I accepted. And when this controversy came out about the closer, they began disinviting me from these film festivals. And now, today, not a film company, not a movie studio, not a film festival, nobody will touch this film. Thank God for Ted Sarandos at Netflix. He's the only one that didn't cancel me yet. To the transgender community, I am more than willing to give you an audience. but you will not summon me. I am not bending to anybody's demands. And if you want to meet with me, I'd be more than willing to, but I have some conditions. First of all, you cannot come if you have not watched my special from beginning to end. You must come to a place of my choosing and a time of my choosing. And thirdly, you must admit that Hannah Gadsby is not funny. I desperately want people to see this movie, but I understand why investors would be nervous. Since nobody will touch it, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will make it available for all of you in 10 American cities, going on sale in the next few days. You will be able to see this movie in its entirety, and you can see what they're trying to obstruct you from seeing. And you can judge for yourself, but you cannot have this conversation and exclude my voice from it. That is only fair. You have to answer the question, am I canceled or not? Then let's go. Thank you very much and good night. Story. I started doing stand-up comedy when I was 14. I'll never forget the first time I was on stage. The guy that introduced me was a guy named J.T. Newton. I'm 47. I can close my eyes and remember the introduction like it was yesterday. It went like this. Ladies and gentlemen, this next young man coming to the stage is starting his comedy career tonight. Who knows? We may be witnessing the birth of a star. Please welcome David Chappelle. From the first time that I ever held a microphone, I was sure this was it. I knew I was home. I knew I had found my thing. And my God, man, I was a child. I got good. Matter of fact, I was good from the moment I started. And I'm not saying this to be a braggart. I'm telling you the truth. These old niggas was in awe of me. How was this little boy so poised? They used to say. I was. I mean, I got better, but it started out good. About a year into it, when I was 15 years old, I had written a joke during the AIDS epidemic about having a Goodyear condom. Something, I don't even remember the joke. Something about an industrial strength condom by Goodyear. I just remember all the comedians really liked that joke. And there was an older comedian. And he came to me one night after the show, after he saw the joke, and he said, listen, I got an audition at another comedy club, and I was wondering, do you mind if I do that joke? I just want to borrow it. Now, I'm a kid. I don't know any better. I'm like, borrow it? Well, I guess, sure, if it'll help your career. I let him do the joke. And then weeks later, I was waiting to go on in a comedy club, and he went on before me, and he did the joke. And after the show, I pulled him aside and I said, hey, man, I don't mind you borrowing my jokes, but you got to give them back. He said, oh, I forgot to ask you. He goes, let me buy that joke from you for $50. And I said, man, I'd do it, but I'm just starting out. I need all the material I can get. The idea being that the more material I can accumulate, the faster I'll be able to make money for my work. I said, I can't do it. I want my joke back. I'll never forget this. Remember, I was a 15-year-old child. This guy was a grown-ass man. He stood up over me so I could see how big he was. And he said to me, really? I can just take it. And he did. I got scared because I was a child. But I never forgot that. I never forgot that. I was 15 years old. I'm 47 now. I think about this guy all the time. When I look at my own kids and I see how young and innocent they are, I can't believe someone did that to me. And I don't think about it every day because that was the worst thing that happened to me. I think about it every day because that was the first time that someone ever did that to me. But in my career, it has happened many, many times since, where someone would intimidate me or scare me and take something that I believe was mine. I'll tell you another story. Now I'm 18 years old. I'm living in New York City, and I just finished my first road tour, which was a very difficult tour. I'll spare you the details. Now I'm back in New York, but my rent is paid, thank God. And I have $60 to my name, and a woman that I had met in Pittsburgh, a bad Dominican bitch, was coming to New York. She was going to spend the weekend with me. I couldn't wait for her to get there. She was coming that evening. But remember, I only had $60 for a whole weekend to entertain a bad bitch. Now I'm walking through Greenwich Village, and I see something I've never seen before. 3-card Monte. You know what that is? Yeah, the guy had the whole thing. The table was set up, and he had the 3 cards, and the crowd was hooting and hollering, and he was like, find the red card, find the red card, and people were playing. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose, but it was really exciting, and I'm standing there watching it, and I noticed while I'm watching them play this game that the red card, the one you're trying to find, had just a little bend on the corner. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, yo, this guy doesn't seem to know that red card is bent. I'm going to beat this motherfucker. And I walked up to the table, and I said, let me play a hand. And I put my last $60 on that table, and he starts to shuffle and find the red card, find the red card. And I kept watching that bent card go around the table, make sure I kept my eyes on that bent card. And when he stopped shuffling, and he said, find the red card, I pointed to it with confidence. Here it is right here. And he flipped it over, and it was black. And he took my money. I couldn't fucking believe that. How did this nigga do that? Was that magic or sorcery? I was confused. So you know what I did? I sat there, and I watched him for a real long time play the game. And I realized that all those people who was doing all that hooting and hollering and betting, my God, they were his friends. They were in on the whole thing. I felt so wronged. I felt so stupid. And then the next sucker came up to the table and was about to put his money down. And I said, fuck that, man. Don't put your money there. All these niggas is in on it. It's a trick. And when I said that, the guy that was dealing, and this motherfucker was huge, snatched me up by my collar. Feel how strong he was when he grabbed me. I was a skinny little guy. And he was going to maul me. And the only reason he didn't, I'm sure, is because he saw the fear in my face. And that fear, he looked at me. I saw his eyes go from hard to soft. He softened. Then he looked at me like the way a father would look at a child. And he said to me, young man, don't ever come between a man and his meal. I never forgot that either. Most niggas would have to run the streets for years to learn a lesson that profound. It took me 2 seconds. Never get between somebody and their paper. Taking a man's livelihood away from him is akin to killing him. Do you know why Prince, the famous rock star that was a friend of mine, do you know why he called himself the artist when he came back? He calls himself the artist because that's what they call us in our contracts. Oh, these contracts are crazy. You should hear the terminology they say in these contracts. To use your name and likeness in perpetuity throughout the universe. Who the fuck could possibly know what that means? Nobody does. It's so complicated, in fact, that when you're a kid like me, you have to hire somebody to tell you what that means. And you sit down at a table and you do the contract game. And that's how I got with Comedy Central. I signed the contract. But I signed the contract the way that a 28-year-old expectant father that was broke signs a contract. I was desperate. I needed a way out. And it wasn't good money and it wasn't good circumstances. But what else am I going to do, I said. And all these white people sitting at that table told me, trust us, Dave, it's a good contract. And I looked around the table and they all seemed to agree it was a good contract. But what if it was like that game of three-card Monte? What if they were all friends and I didn't know it? And the bag of money was Iceberg's money in the first place. What was I talking about? What was I trying to tell you? Last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, I call Lauren Michaels and I tell him, okay, I'll do it. I'll do Saturday Night Live on election night. And the day I made that phone call, the day I committed to it, it gets announced that Netflix is streaming Chappelle's show. Not just Netflix. HBO Max is streaming it too. Let me tell you another story about HBO. No, hear me out. Did you know, before Chappelle's show was at Comedy Central, I pitched that show to HBO. I told them what I wanted to do. Now, these are executives. All they have to do is say, yeah, we'll take it, or no, thank you, we won't. But they didn't say either of those things. They went too far. They said, literally, what do we need you for? That's what they told me, as they kicked me out of the office. What do we need you for? And here we are, all these years later, and they're streaming the very show that I was pitching to them. So I'm asking them, what do you need me for? People think I made a lot of money for Chappelle's show. When I left that show, I never got paid. They didn't have to pay me because I signed the contract. But is that right? I found out that these people were streaming my work and they never had to ask me or they never had to tell me. Perfectly legal because I signed the contract. But is that right? I didn't think so either. That's why I like working for Netflix. I like working for Netflix because when all those bad things happened to me, that company didn't even exist. And when I found out they were streaming Chappelle's show, I was furious. How could they not know? So you know what I did? I called them and I told them that this makes me feel bad. And do you want to know what they did? They agreed that they would take it off their platform just so I could feel better. That's why I fuck with Netflix. Because they paid me my money, they do what they say they're gonna do, and they went above and beyond what you could expect from a businessman. They did something just because they thought that I might think that they were wrong. And I do. I think if you are fucking streaming that show, you're fencing stolen goods. They stole that from me. They just took it. And I'm not up here trying to tell you guys that I believe that Comedy Central gave me a raw deal just because I'm black. I believe that they gave me a raw deal because this fucking industry is a monster. It's the same monster that these Me Too bitches was trying to tell you about. But they hate the monster for how it fucks. And I hate that monster for how it eats. But my God, man, it's the same monster. When I quit the show, all my friends would say, well, fuck them, Dave. Why don't you just do Chappelle's show at another network? Yeah. And why doesn't a slave run from one plantation to another plantation because the master over there might be nicer? My God, man, I was trapped. You know what? Tell you the truth. I've even thought about coming back and doing another Chappelle show. Well, but if I do, I can't call it Chappelle's show because my name and likeness is being used by them in perpetuity throughout the universe. It's in the contract. You're not supposed to do this in my business. I'm up here doing something that nobody else in this business has the balls to do. I'm telling you something that you need to know. I'm trying to explain to you what you're seeing. You don't understand what you're seeing. I am publicly flogging a network. And I know that this network niggas, they watching me and they saying, why are you doing this so publicly? Doesn't feel good to be flogged publicly. Oh, believe me, I know exactly how that feels. When I quit my show, they said I was crazy. What was crazy about it? I just didn't want to do it anymore. They said I smoked crack. That's impossible. I was a devout Muslim. I didn't smoke or drink. But I do now, bitch, because you ruined my fucking life. Now it's their turn. This is their first nigga lesson, and I'm honored to give it to them. They're gonna pay me for this show. I called my agent. I said, is there anything I can do about this show? And he said, no. Well, fuck you too then. If you want something done right, I guess you got to do it yourself. So I'm not going to the agents. I'm coming to my real boss. I'm coming to you. I'm begging you. If you ever liked me, if you ever think there was anything worthwhile about me, I'm begging you. Please don't watch that show. I'm not asking you to boycott any network. Boycott me. Boycott Chappelle's show. Do not watch it unless they pay me. If you're a shareholder at Viacom, then I'm talking to you. Because all that shit that they do to us, well, they do everything for their shareholders. That's what they told me. So if you're a shareholder in that company, tell them it's wrong. And if you don't believe that it's wrong, then fuck you too. You should know what's in the hot dogs you eat. Now, there's probably a bunch of people at Comedy Central and Viacom and all these places that have no idea what I'm talking about. They've all either quit or been fired or got Me Too'd or something. Them niggas is gone. And there's a whole bunch of new young people there, and they're probably looking like, what is he talking about? They may not actually know what the fuck happened to me. So I'll tell you what I'm talking about. Go downstairs to your accounting department, open the books, see what that show made, and look at what you paid me. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You're going to pay me. I am inviting you to come with me and work with me. And let's fight against that terrible, terrible feeling that you made me feel together. We can fight together and work this thing with Chappelle's show out. Or I can just take it. Well, I have some very bad news for the people in the front rows. I heard that some of you paid as much as $800 for your tickets. Sadly, I did this same show a couple weeks ago in Atlanta for $60 a head. Can you imagine? Nigga, you could have flown to Atlanta, got a hotel, had some dinner, and came back, and you still have a little money left over, niggas. Paid way too much just to see me in this gay-ass neighborhood. All right, let me roll up my sleeves and tell these pussy jokes. Will told me to say there hasn't been this many pussy references in this room since Cats was here. Boy, I gotta tell you, man, I've been doing this set all week, and boy, I've been telling these jokes, and sometimes niggas look like they're in actual pain over the jokes. None of it's that bad to me, but I understand why it could hurt some people's feelings. So tonight, I'm going to give you an opportunity that I rarely give anybody. I'm going to let you say whatever it is you need to say to my face, or ask me whatever it is you want to know. But there are no dumb questions allowed. If you ask a stupid question, you'll be asked to leave. Nah, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Everyone relax. Come on. Oh, yes, sir, in the front.
2 questions. How often do you write? And can I have a cigarette?
All right. First, you may have a cigarette, but remember, this is not jail, motherfucker. This lady right here.
I have a question. Do you remember this scene?
Oh, I do remember that. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. That's a terrible question. This gentleman in the front with the salmon-colored shirt on.
I was wondering if you had any advice for young comedians that you generally give, and
Are you thinking of doing comedy?
I've never done it before, but watching you has made me want to try it.
I don't know if that's an insult or not.
It's a compliment. It's.
I mean, niggas don't say I've never done brain surgery, but it looked a lot easier than I thought. I'm teasing. All right, here'd be my advice. Okay, I don't know how comedians start nowadays, right? But what I would suggest is just start. And once you start, you can't really stop, no matter what happens, no matter how bad it gets, no matter what people say. You know what I mean? Because comedy is weird like that. You know why I hate watching other comedians do comedy? Not because I hate other comedians, but because I love comedy so much. It's like watching somebody else fuck your girl. And I say, fuck her better than that. Yes, you on the aisle up there, the lady with the long... Yes, you standing up. I see you. My favorite book of all time, The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass. That guy with the baseball hat.
Marry, fuck, kill, Michelle, Rihanna, Oprah.
Wait, who's Michelle? Oh, Obama. Well, sir, you're putting me in quite the pickle. I can't say I'll fuck Michelle Obama. That's insane. Well, I guess I mean, because I wouldn't kill any of those women. But I'd fuck all three of them. The gentleman in the blue Oxford standing up.
Tell us the story with Charlie Murphy.
Tell a story about Charlie Murphy?
Or your favorite.
Boy, there's so many good Charlie Murphys. You know, the thing with Charlie Murphy is he used to just make us laugh all the time. And I used to ask him about all the old Hollywood shit I was curious about. Like when they used to accuse Michael Jackson, I remember asking once, I go, Charlie, do you think Michael Jackson actually did those things? And he said, let me ask you a question, Dave. He said, say it is illegal to fuck women. How long are you staying out of jail? But God bless Charlie Murphy, wherever you are. Charlie, I love you.
Who do you think is going to win the 2020 election?
All right, I'm going to put a pin in this, but I'll tell you right now, fella, I don't know, but I think Trump has a better shot than a lot of people would like to think. I'm just saying, it all depends on how the left talks. The way we're talking is not going to win the fucking ball game. Donald Trump's over there on the right, grabbing handfuls of pussy. Joe Biden can't even smell hair over here. Fuck this side. All right, man, go ahead.
Thank you so much for this show. And
How old are you?
25.
25? Yeah. Boy, don't let R. Kelly see you. He's gonna pee on you by accident. Oh, my bad. I thought you was 15. Yuck. I'm totally joking. I'm sorry.
My question is there anything you've learned from another comedian that you feel like will stay with you for life?
I tell you what, miss, that's a good question. Yes, is the short answer. A longer version of it is this. I was raised by comedians. I started doing stand-up when I was 14. The other day, I went to a comedian's funeral, and I realized as we was putting this motherfucker in the ground that these people are at least as influential to me as my family. I rock with these niggas till the wheel falls off. We fight and we fuss and we are jealous of each other and we get mad at each other, but my life wouldn't have been what it was without each and every one of them, and I consider them my family. That's the answer. Still hadn't figured out exactly how to say what I wanted to say, but I was doing pretty good, and I was doing some Me Too jokes, and a woman stood up from the audience and she was crying. Clearly, it was a white woman. She says to me, you can't say that. It's 200 seat room, it's a very small room. I'm like, what the fuck are you, like, miss, are you okay? What are you doing? She says, you can't say that. I said, yes, I can. It's my show. I'll say whatever the fuck I want. The crowd's like, ooh, like this. And then she gets up from the table and she starts making a big, like, show of just pushing through the aisles and all this stuff. And there's like a curtain right before the front door. And she gets to the curtain and she's crying. It's fucking crazy. She says, I'm sorry I was raped. It's a fucking comedy club. It's like loud farting getting out of an elevator. Nothing funny can happen in here. Now I'm trapped in a room with this woman's fucking stink. And I say, miss, it is not your fault that you were raped. But it's not mine either. Ta-ta, bitch, like this. She storms out. Now the room is very uncomfortable, but I managed to get the crowd back. But I'm like, a little traumatized. Same show. There's a trans woman sitting in the audience. This is a true story. This was like a few weeks ago. I did 6 shows that weekend. This trans woman came to 4 of them. Calls herself Daphne. Man, this chick Daphne was in there cracking the fuck up at everything I said about everybody. It was amazing. She was laughing, and it was fun to watch her laugh. You could tell she was letting go with something that was heavy, and she'd throw her head back, and she'd smile with all her teeth. She was having a great time. And the more fun she had, I felt bad, because I knew I had some trans jokes to unload. And I thought to myself, maybe I shouldn't say these jokes because I don't want to, fuck her evening up. She's having so much fun. But then I thought to myself, well, if I can't say it in front of her, should I say this shit at all? So I let her rip. And to my surprise, Daphne laughed harder at the trans jokes than anybody in the room. In fact, everybody in the room would look at her to make sure it was okay. And I got off stage, I was in the dressing room, I was like, man, this is a fucking weird show. I'm sitting in the dressing room by myself just trying to figure out, what the fuck just happened out there? Why is it that this one woman can't take any of these jokes and Daphne can take all of these jokes. So weird. And then I realized, Daphne used to be a man. So now I go out of the dressing room and like you can see like all the staff was there like cleaning the club up, the audience had gone, and sitting at the bar by herself was Daphne. And she's like, hey, Dave, come join me for a drink. And I don't want her to think that I'm transphobic or nothing, so I'm like, fuck, I guess I could have at least a drink. And we get some tequila and we're sitting there. And she was fucking cool. Turns out that Daphne, she wants to be a comedian. She was asking me for advice, and I told her advice and all that shit. And then she says to me, she says, boy, you sure do get a bad rap for your trans jokes. I said, Daphne, thank you, but you don't have to say that. I hope I didn't offend you. She goes, no. She said, in fact, I read about you in the New York Times. I said, you did? She said, yeah. She said, I thought it was interesting that they blamed you for R. Kelly. They said you normalized him for telling jokes about him. I go, yeah, they said that. She goes, I wonder why they never said that you normalized transgenders by telling jokes about us. And I'd never thought about that. It never occurred to me. And we started making out. And then like, I reached up just to see what it felt like. I was like, what? And it felt like pussy, didn't it? I was just like, go ahead, ask me a question.
What the fuck you gonna do if Trump get reelected?
What am I gonna do if Trump gets reelected? Probably get a significant tax break. Hey, you wanna know why I don't even talk about Trump in my show? Because that motherfucker is not the hokey pokey. He is not what it's all about. There's millions of people that put him in power, and the ideas that he puts forth are not his own. He's singing poor white people's greatest hits. So why the fuck would I worry about him and not the other millions? I really know who I'm gonna vote for next time if things keep going the way it's going is that gay dude. No, Mike Pence. It's a safe place where I could tell some jokes. And I find out that this comedian I know, Chris Tucker, who's in all those Rush Hour movies, I find out that Chris is in San Francisco too at some charity event. So I call him, I'm like, yo, I just saw you at some charity event. I said, I'm doing a show at the Punchline. Why don't you come by the club after your event? He's like, cool, Dave. I thought you was dead, nigga. I'll come by. He says, is it okay if I bring some friends? Because, you know, I'm with a lot of people. I go, man, you Chris Tucker. You can bring whoever the fuck you want. And then I show up to the club late that night. And I walk into the dressing room. And sitting in the dressing room is Gavin Newsom, who at the time was the mayor of San Francisco, but now he's the governor of California. And sitting next to him was Kamala Harris, who at the time was the DA of San Francisco. Now she's the senator from California that's front-running on the Democratic ticket. And sitting next to her was Al Gore. It's fucking weird. And sitting next to Al Gore was the guys from Google, Sergey, and I don't know how to say these. All right. And it was Chris Tucker and Ben Jealous, who at the time was the president of the NAACP, who was all just at this big charity dinner, and Paul Mooney was drinking scotch. And we all was just in there. And, you know, at first I was a little uncomfortable when we started talking, and we all got along really well. At some point, Kamala Harris says to me, she goes, you know, a friend of mine is announcing his candidacy for president tomorrow. I went to college with him. I'm like, what? I go, Barack Obama? She goes, you've heard of him? I'm like, yo, I just read about this dude. And she goes, yo, yeah, blah, 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 we talking. She goes, you know what? She says, let's call him on the phone. I said, what the fuck? And she picks the phone up and she dials and she's listening like this. And she goes, this is voicemail. And she gives me the phone. She goes, leave him a message. you know, I didn't know what to say. I just said what you say to any black dude that's running for president. You know, stay low, running a zigzag pattern, this kind of shit. And then the last thing I say is, you know what? I said, sir, well, I really do believe you can do this. Like, man, I'm wishing you luck. Now, next day I wake up and go for coffee at a place called the Embarcadero. It's like an eatery by the sea in San Francisco. And I'm walking to the coffee shop and there's a police line and I can't cross the tape. But then I figure, fuck it, I'm Dave Chappelle, so I go into the thing like this. And the police yoke me. These motherfuckers like tackle me immediately. And I see over the police's shoulder Gavin Newsom. I couldn't remember his name, but I remember the night before I had kept teasing him and saying he looked like Christian Bale, the guy from the Batman movies. So I see him and I can't remember the name, so I'm just like, Batman, help! And he stops, he's like, Dave? And then the police see that the mayor knows me, so they all like, oh, sorry about that. And he's like, hey, back up, everybody. And he just picks me up. He's like, I'm really sorry about that. I'm like, I'm fine, don't worry about it. And he's like, listen, I'm here with Prince. Would you like to meet him? I'm like, I know Prince. That's my nigga. And we go around the corner, and it was Prince Charles, the Prince of England. I didn't know the protocol of meeting royalty. You're not supposed to touch him. I dapped him up like a nigga. My nigga. Ah! Hugging him and shit like this, dapping him up. Like this. And that nigga was cool too. I was like, it's really fucking weird. And then I was just out there in the upside down, not having no TV show, trying to figure life out. And the election was going on in the background. And this guy, Barack Obama, was picking up steam. This motherfucker was killing it. And I had a chance to go to the last debate on the Democratic ticket, and I went. It's me and Chris Tucker sitting in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It's the last three candidates. It was Barack Obama, John Edwards, and Hillary Clinton. Now, Obama's a lot taller than Edwards and Clinton, and he had the center podium. And at one point, they're all on stage, and they start fussing, and Obama goes, look, none of us are perfect, like this. And his hands was like this, and there was light shining behind his head, and the other two candidates was looking up at the nigga, and I was sitting in the audience like, this nigga looks like Jesus. And I realized in that moment that I was looking at the next president of the United States. I was certain of it. I couldn't explain it, but I knew what I was seeing. And I got really excited. And I'm not that kind of guy. I said, I gotta meet this motherfucker. So I stayed. They were all on stage doing interviews, and I just waited. I was waiting and waiting, and then John Edwards was done with his interviews first, because everybody knew he wasn't going to win. And I see John Edwards, and I said, hey, Senator Edwards, I just want to say hi. And that motherfucker looked at me like, I'm like, fuck you, nigga, you going to lose anyway. And then he left, and then Hillary Clinton just walked by me in one of them Steve Harvey suits. But Obama was taking forever. Everybody wanted to talk to him. When I knew the media saw exactly what I saw, there was no question about it. That was the guy. I waited and I waited, and finally, it must have been over an hour and a half, he finishes his last interview. He's like, man, thank you very much. Good talking to you. And he turns around, and we make eye contact. He sees me, and when he sees me, he looks over, he goes, Dave Chappelle. And Obama did me the same way I did Prince Charles. He dapped me out like, And he like bro hugged me and he pulled me in and I'll never forget this. He said in my ear, I got your message. Thank you very much, New York City.
I'm goddamn sick of it. This is the worst time ever to be a celebrity. You're gonna be finished. Everyone's doomed. Michael Jackson has been dead for 10 years, and this nigga has 2 new cases. And if you haven't watched that documentary, then I'm begging you, don't watch it. It's fucking gross. I felt like HBO was sticking baby dicks in my ears for 4 hours straight. Really nasty shit. I don't want to know all these things. Turns out, Michael Jackson allegedly likes a long gander at the anus. So they said he stares at people's buttholes. That's what they said. That's how gross the documentary was. I'm gonna say something that I'm not allowed to say. But I gotta be real. I don't believe these motherfuckers. I do not believe it. But let me qualify the statement. I am what's known on the streets as a victim blamer. You know what I mean? Somebody come up to me like, Dave, Chris Brown just beat up Rihanna. I'll be like, well, what did she do? Dave, Michael Jackson was molesting children. Well, what were those kids wearing at the time? I don't think he did it. But you know what? Even if he did do it, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I mean, it's Michael Jackson. I know more than half the people in this room have been molested in their lives. But it wasn't no goddamn Michael Jackson, was it? This kid got his dick sucked by the king of pop. All we get is awkward Thanksgivings for the rest of our lives. You know how good it must have felt to go to school the next day after that shit? Hey, Billy, how was the weekend? How was my weekend? Michael Jackson sucked my dick. And that was my first sexual experience. If I'm starting here, then sky's the limit. I know it seems harsh, but man, somebody's got to teach these kids. There's no such thing as a free trip to Hawaii. He's gonna want to look at your butthole or something. You know why I don't believe it? You know why I don't believe it? Because if Michael Jackson's out here doing all this molesting, then why not Macaulay Culkin? Macaulay Culkin said in an interview that Michael Jackson never did anything inappropriate with him or even around him. Think about that shit. You know, I'm not a pedophile. But if I was, Macaulay Culkin's the first kid I'm fucking, I'll tell you that right now. I'd be a goddamn hero. Hey, that guy over there fucks a kid from Home Alone. And you know how hard he is to catch. My mind's telling me no. Okay, R. Kelly is different. I mean, you know, if I'm a betting man, I'm gonna put my money on he probably did that shit. I'm pretty sure he did that shit. You know, it was bad, okay? So a couple years ago, I was doing a show in Detroit, and I'm sitting backstage in my dressing room. A friend of mine comes by, this chick, Dream Hampton. Dream tells me, right before I'm going on stage, she goes, Dave, I'm working on a documentary about R. Kelly. Would you like to be in it? And I was like, nah, bitch, I'm cool. I went on stage, I just forgot about the shit. And then 2 years later, the documentary comes out, Surviving R. Kelly. And when it comes out, Dream's promoting the shit, and she keeps bringing me up. She said, I asked Dave Chappelle to be in my documentary, and he said it was too hot for TV. Bitch, I did not say that. It does not even sound like how I talk. Oh, that's too hot for TV. I would never say that shit. But I'm gonna tell you guys why I wasn't in the documentary. There's a very simple reason, and I cannot stress this point enough. The only reason that I didn't do it was because, and it's very important, I don't know this nigga at all. I don't know anything. I don't know anything that they don't tell me about. I don't hang out with this nigga, nothing. So what the fuck do I gotta be in the documentary for? This guy, R. Kelly, got another sex tape out now. Can't you believe that shit? This guy makes more sex tapes than he does music. He's like the DJ Khaled of sex tapes. Another one. Like, damn, it's a lot of tapes. The new one's so bad that they didn't even show it. I've never seen anything like this. The prosecutor in Chicago came out in a press conference and read to the media a transcript of a sex tape. Have you ever heard of such a thing? This nigga read the sex tape. And it was so bad that R. Kelly sounded guilty in the transcripts. It's fucking amazing. 16 times the girl's age was mentioned. Isn't that crazy? This motherfucker is an idiot. He was fucking her like, yeah, this is the best 14-year-old pussy I've ever had in my life. And she was like, you like this 14-year-old pussy? He's like, oh yeah, I love this 14. I'm like, man, you need to shut the fuck up. You gotta give your lawyer something to work with. You're supposed to be on the tape like, this is the best 36-year-old pussy I've ever had in my life. And then your lawyer can be like, Your Honor, clearly my client thought that this woman was 36, as he mentioned some 16 times in the tape. They gonna know you lying though, you know what I mean? Everybody knows no such thing as good 36-year-old pussy. Doesn't matter what I say. And if you at home watching this shit on Netflix, remember, bitch, you clicked on my face.
Hello, xin chào tất cả mọi người nhá. Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với buổi review của em Lan ngày hôm nay. Chúc mọi người một ngày mới tốt lành, một ngày mới an lành và một ngày mới thật tràn đầy thật niềm vui và tiếng cười. Chúc mọi người đi ngược về xuôi luôn, nhớ về nơi cha thương mẹ của mình nhá. Không ai có thể tốt hơn cha hơn mẹ của mình. Chúng ta hãy biết là luôn yêu quý những tình cảm của bố mẹ dành cho mình nha. Mỗi ngày em Lan sẽ dành ra một chút thời gian để giới thiệu về bản thân mình và cũng như là giới thiệu về những cái điều hay ho nhá. Mọi người nghe mà có chán thì đừng chán em Lan nha. Thì trên tay em Lan đây sẽ là một chiếc kìm nhặt da, sử dụng kìm nhặt da và kìm. Người ta có thể sử dụng cái kìm này để nhặt da chết ở trên tay hoặc là nhặt cắt tỉa móng tay, thì đây gọi là kìm nhặt da đấy. Thì kìm nhặt da chết thì công dụng của kềm, đây gọi là kềm cắt da, thì công dụng của kềm này nó sẽ như thế nào và chúng ta sẽ sử dụng ra làm sao. Thì chúng ta hôm nay thì xin mời mọi người đến với cái buổi review của em Lan về cái kềm nhặt da này nhé. Đấy, cái kềm nhặt da là nó như thế này. Thì có chữ nghĩa dập kìm sâu bên trong cổ kềm là hàng thật. Ở đây nhà sản xuất đã cho chúng ta biết được hàng thật với hàng giả để chúng ta phân biệt, có nghĩa là có chữ nghĩa dập chìm sâu bên trong cổ kiềm là hàng thật, có nghĩa là bên trong cổ kiềm này mà có chữ nghĩa và dập thật sâu. Đây chính là bên trong kiềm này có chữ nghĩa đấy. Đấy, dập sâu đấy chính là hàng thật luôn nhá. Đấy chính là hàng thật để chúng ta phân biệt giữa hàng thật và hàng giả là như thế nào. Thì bảo quản thì là bảo quản nơi khô, sau khi sử dụng lau sạch bụi bẩn bằng acetone. Acetone thì nhúng 1/4 lưỡi kiềm vào dung dịch khử trùng, nhỏ dầu vào máy vào cốt kiềm để bôi trơn. đậy lắp lại, tránh làm cong mũi kềm và va chạm. Thì cái này là chúng ta phải bảo quản hết sức cẩn thận. Nếu như mà cái đầu kềm này mà nó bị rơi xuống đất, nếu chúng ta không bảo quản kỹ của cái này thì cái đầu kềm này khi rơi xuống đất này thì nó sẽ bị cong cái mũi kềm này, thì chúng ta rất khó để sử dụng, tại vì khi chúng ta sử dụng cái đầu kềm này mà bị cong rồi thì khi chúng ta đưa cắt và nhặt da chết thì không thể nào mà luồn lách hết được những cái mà nó đang vướng ở trên da. Thế thì đấy sẽ làm cho da của chúng ta không thể nhặt được sạch sẽ. Thì đây chính là cái này nhé, cái tác dụng của cái việc bảo vệ đầu kềm như thế nào, kềm nhặt da là gì và cách sử dụng kềm nhặt da là như thế nào, thì chúng ta hãy cùng tìm hiểu trong bài viết ngày hôm nay nhé. Kềm nhặt da là dụng cụ không thể thiếu trong khi làm móng. Đây là một cái dụng cụ để làm nai và làm móng, mà cái kềm này thì không thể thiếu được trong cái quá trình mình sử dụng, trong quá trình mình nhặt da nhé. Đấy, đây là chính là cái kềm nhặt da nhé. Dụng cụ không thể thiếu trong khi làm da và làm móng. Kềm nhặt da có rất nhiều loại, nhưng đa số là các bạn học viên sẽ lựa chọn cái kềm nhặt da Nghĩa hoặc kềm nhặt da Lữ Hoàng. Thì hiện tại thì bên em đang sử dụng cái kềm nhặt da của Nghĩa. Em đã sử dụng cái này rất chi là lâu rồi và cũng thấy cái độ hiệu quả của nó rất chi là tốt. Thế nên là em sẽ sử dụng cái kềm này suốt nhé. Đây là cái kềm nhặt da của Nghĩa này. Đây, mọi người có thể nhìn thấy rõ hơn này. Để đảm bảo chiếc kềm nhặt da của mình được lâu, sử dụng không bị rỉ, sử dụng không bị nghỉ, mòn cùn, chúng tôi em xin đưa ra những cái định nghĩa như sau để cho mọi người hiểu hơn về cái kềm nhặt da của mình sẽ như thế nào nhé. Kềm nhặt da Nghĩa thì kềm nhặt da Nghĩa trong dịch vụ làm nai. Kềm nhặt da Nghĩa trong dịch vụ làm nai là một dụng cụ trong bộ chăm sóc móng, được sử dụng phổ biến trong bộ chăm sóc móng và được sử dụng phổ biến trong việc cắt, làm sạch tế bào chết xung quanh móng, tạo lên lớp biểu bì mềm mịn hơn. Thì khi móng của chúng ta hình thành lên, đây thì có những cái nền da chết này, ví dụ như đây trên tay của chúng ta có những cái nền da chết này, thì cái kìm của chúng ta sẽ nhặt và loại bỏ hết những cái phần da chết ở trên tay, để khi chúng ta sơn móng hay là làm cho đôi tay của không sơn, hay là chúng ta chỉ nhặt da chết thì thôi, thì cũng làm cho cái đôi tay của chúng ta trở nên mềm mại hơn, quyến rũ hơn, và đặc biệt hơn là sẽ nhẹ nhàng hơn cho chúng ta nhé. Đấy. Mô tả thì là đối với cấu tạo của kìm nhặt da. Kìm nhặt da được thiết kế nhỏ gọn. Kìm nhặt da này được thiết kế nhỏ gọn, thuận tiện cho việc cất giữ hay mang theo bên người. Gồm hai phần chính là thân kìm, lưỡi kìm. Lưỡi kìm sắc nhọn. Đấy, lưỡi kìm thì rất chi là sắc nhọn. Thì chúng ta sẽ phân ra là được hai cái đầu, được hai cái phần chính, đó là thân kìm và lưỡi kìm. Thì phần lưỡi kìm này của chúng ta sẽ sắc nhọn hơn nhé. Chất liệu là thép không rỉ. Chất liệu của cái em này chúng ta sẽ là thép không rỉ, khối lượng nhỏ, màu trắng hoặc màu xám, màu vàng, trắng hoặc là trắng xám. Thì đây là màu trắng xám này, vàng này. Khối lượng thì rất chi là nhỏ, nhẹ nhỏ, thì chúng ta có thể dễ dàng thuận tiện sử dụng luôn. Đây, cái kìm này rất chi là nhỏ nhẹ luôn nhé. Đấy, mọi người có thể thấy được cả bên trong túi kìm rất chân. Chúng ta sẽ có một cái hướng dẫn để chúng ta nhặt da, cách cầm và sử dụng kìm nhặt da là như thế nào. Đấy, thì cách cầm kìm nhặt da thì có rất nhiều cách cầm kìm khác nhau, tùy theo sở thích và độ thuận của tay của từng người để chúng ta có một cái cách cầm kìm thuận tiện nhất. Thì tuy nhiên chúng ta sẽ được giới thiệu một cách cầm kìm sao cho chuyên nghiệp hơn này, và thuận tiện sử dụng mà bạn có thể áp dụng này. Đầu tiên ta gỡ hai thanh thanh ở giữa thân kìm xuống, và sau đó thì đây chúng ta sẽ gỡ thanh ở thân kìm xuống này. Sau đó để vào lòng bàn tay, đặt ngón trỏ vào dưới đuôi lưỡi kìm. Đây là cái thanh này, thanh để vào đây, thì chúng ta sẽ đặt ngón trỏ vào lưỡi thanh của kìm này. Sau đó để ngón tay giữa vào phần thân và hai ngón áp út ôm lấy thân kìm. Để ngược lại, người ta muốn gỡ đuôi kìm thì chúng ta sẽ cầm ngón trỏ vào giữa đuôi kìm này, thân hai tay này sẽ vào đây và luồn ở đây để chúng ta có thể đưa đi đưa lại một cách dễ dàng nhất nhé. Đấy, kẹp kìm và đồng thời áp út bên phía lòng tay thì chúng ta có thể thuận tiện là cắt bỏ. Đấy, chúng ta có thể cắt bỏ những cái phần da chết ở trên lòng bàn tay là như thế này. Đấy, em có thể cắt cho mọi người xem này. Đấy, loại bỏ đi những cái phần da chết trên tay này. Đấy, giúp cái đôi tay của chúng ta trở lên mềm mại và nhẹ nhàng hơn. Đấy, giúp tay của chúng ta loại bỏ đi những cái phần da chết. Cái này thì không hề đau nhé, mọi người có thể yên tâm là cái này đó chỉ là da chết trên bề mặt, da chết của da của mình thôi. Thì chúng ta cắt như này, loại bỏ đi những phần da chết. Đấy, thấy chưa, em đã làm rồi nhé. Đấy, mọi người có thể thấy được cái phần này mình có thể làm da chết trên đây là như vậy nhé. Các bước nhặt da thì là thế. Các bước nhặt da thì trước tiên là chúng ta phải ngâm tay vào trong cái nước ấm, nước muối ấm khoảng 10 đến 15 phút để cho da chúng ta trở lên mềm mịn hơn. Đấy, khi chúng ta nhặt vào da rồi thì chúng ta sẽ mềm mịn hơn. Sẽ mềm hơn, thì khi đó thì hoặc là khi chúng ta xong rồi thì chúng ta có thể bôi thêm cái kem dưỡng ẩm vào để hỗ trợ da, bôi thêm cái kem dưỡng ẩm vào đây để chúng ta hỗ trợ làm mềm da. Để mềm da thì đồng thời thì nhặt da, trong quá trình nhặt da sẽ được thuận tiện hơn nhé. Dùng cây sủi da để nhẹ nhàng. Chúng ta có một cái dụng cụ nữa đó là đi cùng kìm nghĩa, thì chúng ta có một cái dụng cụ nữa là cái đầu này thì chúng ta có thể lấy đầu trên này, chúng ta có thể đi cùng cái dụng cụ kìm nghĩa này, chúng ta có thể lấy cái đầu trên này, chúng ta đẩy cái phần da chết lại, và bên cạnh đó thì chúng ta có thể lấy cái đầu nhọn để chúng ta lấy những cái vật dụng bẩn ra khỏi cái da chết, và đồng thời là chúng ta cũng sẽ nhặt da dễ hơn. Đến bước 4 thì chúng ta sẽ sử dụng cái kìm này để chúng ta nhặt da trên tay nhé. Chúng ta sẽ sử dụng cái kìm để chúng ta nhặt da trên tay một cách tiện nhất nhé. Đấy, sau khi mà nhặt hết cái phần da chết trên da rồi thì chúng ta cũng tạo form móng bằng cái kìm này luôn. Chúng ta cắt tỉa và tạo form móng bằng cái kìm này luôn. Bên cạnh đó chúng ta sẽ loại bỏ những cái bụi bẩn ở bên trong móng này đi. Ví dụ những cái bụi bẩn bám bên trong móng thì để cho nó sẽ tạo được cái form móng đẹp và da đẹp hơn. Thì chú ý là đối với cái kìm này thì chúng ta sẽ để xa tầm tay trẻ em. Trong quá trình chúng ta mở lưỡi kìm thì khoảng 0,5 đến 1 mm để tránh trường hợp cắt quá sâu vào da tay khách thì sẽ dẫn đến đau và chảy máu nhé. Các bước bảo quản kìm thì có thể chúng ta đã tìm hiểu lúc nãy rồi, thì là chúng ta sẽ xong thì chúng ta sẽ sử dụng cái bằng dung dịch acetone để chúng ta sẽ rửa lại kìm này, nhúng lưỡi kìm vào khung dung dịch khử trùng và đậy nắp kìm vào để không tránh bị cong đầu kìm ở bên trong này nhé. Đấy là cái video hướng dẫn mọi người cái sử dụng cách kìm nhặt da này, thì video của em Lan đến đây là kết thúc rồi. Hẹn mọi người ở những cái video tiếp theo nha. Bye bye.